Right, I've just decided to reset this waterline because I want the sky to be slightly bigger and coming down slightly lower than I had it. But the colour also, I've made it orange in here, and I wanted it to be have a little bit of peachy colour in there as well, a bit of a lovely peachy colour. So I'm just going to put this liquid white, put in a small amount of liquid white all the way in there, because where the tape was there was no liquid white behind it. And then with that you can just blend into that orange, and slowly but surely that colour will actually, that line will just disappear. That's all I'm doing at the moment. That'll disappear completely for you. And just bring the liquid white up, and instantly that liquid white will mix with the orange above. And then it'll allow us to come back and put some colour in there on the horizon, some more colour. So I'm going to use the same orange that I used before, but I'm going to also apply a tiny bit of white to it this time, so that it just changes the hue slightly, the hue of the colour. That's something like what I was wanting. And then I'm going to get a 1-inch brush. That's it for the liquid white. Now, before, if you remember, I mixed up an orange with the red, bright red, and yellow. More yellow than red, much more. Just a nice orangey colour, wasn't it? Something about like that. So all I'm going to do this time is I'm going to use that same colour, but I want to put a little bit of white to it. Not too much, just a tiny amount, and it turns it a bit peachy. So in there, I'm just going to start up in here where I want it to be quite a bit brighter. A bit more of that red in there. There. And actually just, like before, just pretend that that tape isn't even there, and you can just come over with that, and it should just blend into the similar shade that we've got with the other that we had before. Allow it to blend in there, and in here again, because of that white, it just makes it into a slight more peachy colour. Just in here is where I really wanted that, just on that horizon area. Nice one. Now just over in here I'm going to bring out a little hill that's going to be way back in the distance. It's got a little hair there. Just pluck that off. Right, so just in here we're going to have a big hill that comes through from probably up here, right up here, cutting all that off. So just in here is where I want to indicate something in the distance, quite far away. So I'm going to use blue, black, small amount, crimson, put them colours down on the palette. Not a lot of colour, really isn't a lot of colour there. A bit more of the black and the blue, just a tiny bit more. And then sometimes I just like to put one of the burns in. This is light red actually, which I'm just using a light red into that. And then what you do is you go and grab your white and just mix some on your brush, some of that white. There, see that? That's the colour tone. I want it lighter. See, it's got to be quite subtle as this, what I'm planning on doing. This little hill first of all. Quite a subtle one, so I don't want it to be too dark. It wants to be quite light. Maybe just a bit more of the brown into that as well. It's that's the dark burnt sienna that I've just put in there. A little bit of burnt sienna. Let's have a look. Now, just up in here, there's going to be a little indication of something far away. Just a little like mountain or a little cliff just on the edge, just there. And I want it to be quite soft, so that's why I've done it with quite a light colour. I want it to just stand out, and then this big one's going to come in and totally come right through. So this will be sort of like sat there behind. Don't want it to be too dark though, so what I tend to do, I'll just use a paper towel and wipe that brush off, get the majority of the paint off the brush. And then with that, I just come back in and just blend it out softly, just like on this top edge here. I want it quite soft. Just gently blend it. Just with the side of the brush, I'm using the side to blend this out. There. You can actually go back with a 1-inch brush and then very, very gently just glide over that. Really gently, just touching it. You're not moving the paint, you're just diffusing it so it sits back there really nice and soft. That's good, happy with that. Now just on the horizon here, I'm going to bring a tiny bit of that lavender in as well. Just in, where am I looking? Just in here. Put a tiny bit of that lavender in there, just along the horizon, in there, and then that's going to pretty much just disappear away, just the same. Gentle, blend over it like nice and soft, subtle. And when I'm blending, I'm using a clean brush. Right. I think it's about time we can take this off. So as you can see, it gives us quite a sharp edge, and on this we're not really wanting that. So what I'll do is I'll just go along it and blend it out with the liquid white that's underneath there. Right. See, what I do know is that just down in here, this orange colour, we've got a strip where there's some yellow and orange in the beach, just down in here. So I'm going to paint some of that colour in, probably now while I've got the colours on the brush. So first of all, I'm just going to use like the yellow and tap that out. So that's mainly just the yellow. Sometimes even put a tiny bit of white into that. See that? Nice, it's like a lemon yellow again, similar. Tiniest bit of red's just gone into it, but that's not a problem. And then just in here, actually going all the way from up there nearly, it is actually just straight down here with some of this colour, yellow, a bit of that white, right down through the beach. And then just on the edges of that, it's going to turn to the orange. Even down in there, we're going to have some of that. Very soft. Right, now I'm going to get a bit of crimson, a bit of bright red, sorry, not crimson. Bright red, yellow, make a nice orange. Don't want it to be too strong, this orange. I want it to be quite a lot of yellow in it, so I'm just going to get some more yellow out. And this is the lemon yellow that I'm using. Now the ocean, as it comes in, there's a lot of like boulders and rocks going on in these areas. Even back in here we've got some. really going to be a nice painting to be doing. I'm looking forward to this. I've been looking forward all night to doing this. Right, so again I've got some of that lemon yellow there. Mix a bit more of that in with the red that I've got, which is an orange tone. And then down in here I'm just going to pull a bit of that. Maybe a bit more red in areas as well. Tiniest amount of crimson into it now and again, which always works. I want it quite subtle and soft, don't want it too intense. There. Orange again at this side, and it actually, when it comes down there, it actually goes out to there as well. Right, so at that stage what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make sure there's enough of that colour pulled all the way through. We've got the yellow strip, and I'm going to get a clean brush again, 1 inch, clean 1 inch brush. I'm just going to get some straight titanium white, just some white this time, there, and into the centre I'm going to bring some of that light, again reload again, some more fresh paint. I want quite a bit of paint in this. See how I've allowed it to go on quite blobby and thick, because I want it to be that way. I want to just blend into that colour that I put on the edges and let it go to a really soft bright colour either side. Same on that one. Just let it go, mix into that colour. It'll be really soft then and still light, lovely and light. Same there. Something like so. Now with this also I might get a bit more of the white just into these outer bits. I think it needs to be a bit brighter than I've got it. On camera I know it looks really bright probably, but there, something like that. And then basically in here where I'll actually bring some of that in to the land slightly. We've got a few little areas where that colour's going to actually come right through and come in inland onto the beach. Same in here. I just want to actually indicate some little areas where that colour comes out into the beach, into the sand, and then it fluffs away on this edge and goes back. You can even put indications of movement and all sorts of crazy things going on. Make loads of crazy stuff go on in here. See that, just blend into that. Nice one. And even up in here, got a few little areas that pop onto the beach slightly. This area here actually pops on quite a bit as well, just like that does up there. So I'll just pull some of that colour through, and these little areas it leaves, they're really lovely. Sometimes it's nice just to go back into that brush with a bit more colour on it. See that? And just in certain areas, I'll push some more of that colour into that. You can even blend that. There we go. I'm happy with how this is going. It's going to plan so far. Right, put them brushes down to one side. And I want to actually think about this horizon line now. So as it goes away, we've got some of the same colours, the yellows and the orange going on in there. So I'll just use a fan brush for now. So I'll start off with the lighter colours. The yellow. Must have had a bit of blue on my brush because it's turned it green. Let's try this one. That's okay. So just up in here along this edge I'll put a bit of the yellow, and it's going to come right through into just in here where it's going to be a lot softer than I've got it right now. Just putting a little bit of that yellow in. to the orange tones. And again, because there's liquid white on there, the more you blend this, the lighter it will become. So just up in here I'm going to start using some of them oranges, and I'll bring it up into that yellow that I put in there. See, this colour here is going to be predominant because it's obviously reflecting from up here into the water. So all down in here basically I want some of that orange. Got a very light hue of it. Don't want it to be too overpowering. Just using the fan brush here. It's not blending well at the moment because I haven't really got into the liquid white yet. But what I'll do is I actually touch the liquid white down here and then bring it back up again into these areas, you see that? And then it instantly makes these softer and makes it work well. Sometimes you just go straight into titanium white again, and anywhere where it's got a bit too bright, just put that in and that'll really help it just blend lovely. See, we want these effects to be quite bright but quite subtle as well. And up in here we're going to actually touch that edge, but I want to use a big brush for it. Or I could just do it like this, you know, but I want to use a big blender brush to make it look soft. Just come into that and just blend it out so it's not quite so sharp. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight, this line. It's not about making it perfectly straight. As it comes in here as well, you do the same thing with the bottom of that. Just let it touch, but then you're more than likely just going to see a little bit of that grey colour tapped up into here because there's some land. Just in there, but softly. It's not really sharp or anything. I want it really soft. This is in the background and we want some real depth in this painting. There we go. A bit of that darker colour on for the beach area. So come back with a 1-inch brush again, blender. I'll just come into this little hair there. Blend that out. Bring some of this colour down into here as well, but it'll be more to the red orange, the red side of the orange this time. Blending right over all that. Go back with your fan brush now and again. And here's a few darker areas where there's more intensity of colour. You can just go back in and put some of that in. Didn't want a white line along the horizon line neither. Total white line. I just wanted to go into it and diffuse it a bit by doing this. This look like little waves and stuff like that that's going on in there. Just these lovely colours. And like I said, just every now and again you can touch the white and bring a bit of white into that. That'll help it blend as well. I want it far away in the background. So again, I'll probably just use a 1-inch brush. I'm going to go right over that waterline. See that? Just gentle. I'm not going over it tough, very gentle because I want it to be quite sat back in the distance. There. That's good. Now, give it a good clean off on my brush. So I'm going to mix a peachy colour again. Nice peachy colour. So I'm going to use crimson, bright red, in with the yellow. Tap that in there. And then I'll switch brushes to a big brush. And I'll make a peach. Put a bit of white into that already. Let's try a bit of that. Just into the ocean here and there. I want a bit of this colour. It's going to be quite subtle because there's going to be some blues in there as well. Even into the water on the beach, you see, I want a bit of this colour going on. Follow some of it through here and there. Really soft. In here we've got an area I want to separate that yellow that I've got up in that top part by this, using this peachy colour. You get bits of crimson coming up there and all sorts of stuff going on. Just allow that to blend with the liquid white there in there. And then the blues that we're bringing will go in over the top of that. Even in here it's nice to just bring some little bits of that colour in as well. Love wet on wet for this. Absolutely love it. It's one of the best ways for doing these lovely effects. Just going to come in there slightly. Maybe just a bit down in here as well. Right over that water line, right the way over it. I want it subtle there in the background. Now I'm just going to use a few of the dark browns. So I'm going to use burnt sienna, Mars red, dark sienna, and alizarin crimson. Small amount of alizarin in with that. Just a very good dark brown, and then I'm going to get a bit of black and mix the black into the colour. See that? Just so it darkens it off. There we go. Nice dark brown. Maybe a tiny smidgen more black. Try it. Something like that, what I'm after, that I'm chasing. Now just along here where it comes down it's going to be very subtle. So what I'll probably end up doing is using a bit of this brown. It comes quite high. It comes from up here and then it comes down slightly more of an angle. And then it has a little projection where it pops up there and then it goes right back down again. So what I want to do actually is just tap into this area a little bit, just here where I painted that in, so just soften it slightly. This comes in front, but I want it to actually start getting light. So I'm switching to a clean fan brush. So this is a clean brush now. I can just blend that colour and it comes just out into the water area just in front of that to about here. In fact I can bring it a bit further with that brush. I'll use the dark, bring a bit bit further to about there, and then it seems to straighten out. If you're gentle, you might even be able to use this brush. Yeah, just into there. Make sure this stuff here in the background. Put a bit of brown on that there. Just in the background. And go back to a clean brush. And that in the background now it's got a hue of that colour. Slightly. But it's very soft. And behind it. Right, so like I was saying, you pull this colour on to about there. And then let it blend back. Every time you touch, you can just step back and have a good look. Something like what I was wanting. Maybe you still want a tiny bit more black in with it. It's just up in here. Block this in. This is the colour that we're going to use for the beach. It's a predominant colour we'll be using throughout this painting, with the siennas and the black together, a bit of crimson. So lovely effects with it. Now just down into here, it's going to be misty, so I don't want to paint too much colour down into there. I'm just keeping that in my mind, because I want to use the lightness to separate layers. Right. Yeah, if you always follow the angles that you go at. It's nice now and again just to get a bit of straight black, because this is a silhouette scene. It's totally in silhouette, and I'll put just a bit of black so that on that top edge, just in there, it's got a silhouette edge. Basically that silhouette will be against the light sky, you see, so it will really stand out well, and then it gets lighter the closer to the light source it gets. So even in there, just blend a bit more of that dark into it, but always following the angle of the mountain. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Just up in here we're going to have an area where it comes down like so, onto level land, onto the beach. Now you can mist under this part as well slightly, just with a fan brush even. Just do it over there first, and then just tap into that, and it'll just melt away. The colours should just merge together beautifully, make it look slightly misty. Yeah, that's good.